Mm. Hallelujah. Shalom. Shalom to my Israelite brothers and sisters scattered worldwide. Shalom to you all. And happy um, Shabbat. I would say Shabbat because this is the time of unleavened bread. You know, these are set apart feast days. We are still celebrating our set apart feast that Yahuah has set apart for us, for his set apart ones, for us to stay away from the world, get leavened out of our body and out of our house, and stay clean and live righteous and ready for him for his return. Hallelujah. All right, my brothers and sisters. What I want to discuss today is about Yahuwah's time, system, and worship. What Yahuwah has ordained, or and versus what man has um, rebelled against. What Yahuwah has ordained, what Yahuwah has, the system Yahuwah has created, or the system Yahuwah has set in place, versus what um, Satan, Shaitan, has used man to, to create his own system. To some of us who are rooted in the scriptures, like who study scriptures very well, some of us know that Satan did not create nothing. Satan did not create anything. He has nothing. He's very broke. He's the brokest dude. That's what I'm saying. He was thrown out of Shamaim, out of heaven, with nothing. The only thing, the only thing Satan created and invented is a lie. He can lie. According to the scriptures, he is the originator of lie. So, all right, my brothers and sisters, please do well to like the video and share with others. And please, this is the first time that that I officially go live. So I would like to I like all of you, my brothers and sisters, who is watching now or who is going to watch later, to like the video, share, and share with others, and also share your thoughts and contribution in the comment section. And if you have any question, our email is in the description box, or you also have any word of encouragement, our info is in the description box. We are family, no matter where we are in the four corners of the earth, right? We are 12 brothers, but one father, right? So wherever we are, we have one father, Yahuwah, and we have one ancestor, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it doesn't matter where we are today, where we are in Africa, you are in the Caribbean, you are in the Americas, you are in the Asia, We are in the Middle East, where it used to be our land, where we originated from. Wherever you are, we are one brothers and we are one family. You get what I'm saying? And Yahuah has um, joined us together. So whatever thing that you feel like you see that Yahuah has put in your heart to do, you are feel free to reach out. You get what I'm saying? So right now, I am from Nigeria. Like I live in a territory named Nigeria by the British, British property. That's where I am, right? You know who name you own you, right? So it was the British that named Nigeria. So it's their property. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, let me not go out of topic. Um, I hope you guys can hear me. Okay, you guys can hear me. So let's go. I said that Yahuah created a system. You know, Yahuah is the is the author of everything. He's the one that started everything. So he created a system right from the beginning, right from the day of creation. How he wants everything to be, he created a system right from the very first verse of the scriptures. That's where he began to build his house, like the earth. The earth is the house, right? So, and he put things in order, right? This is my property. I'm the one that created here. This is how I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? This is my system. I'm the king. I'm the master. I'm the ruler. I'm everything. He's everything, right? So he created that system. He created a system of worship and um, and a way of life of how human should live. And we all know the story that he has enemy who rebelled against him, the lawless one that was thrown down from Shamaim to earth. So when he got here, he did not stop his rebellion, right? So he also used human to create his own system that opposed the system of Yahuah. So that's what we are going to talk about today. So if Yahuah is the person that created time, a person that created days, months, years. You know what I'm saying? So that means it is Yahuwah that controls worship, right? Because he fixed his worship or how we should worship according to the system that he created, according to how he created the world, right? So that means his enemy, Ashatan, the cursed one, according to how Solomon addressed him or how the prophet addressed him sometimes, the lawless one will also create his own system that will oppose and rebel against Yahuwah's system. And this is our feast period. Like this is our feast days, right? Today is one of our feast days, Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? And it is Yahuwah that created it and give us the sign on how to celebrate it. So without saying so much, let's start from Genesis 1. Let me just say Genesis 1 verse 1. In the beginning, Yahweh created the Shamaim and the Arat, and the whole world was with nothing. You know what I'm saying? And Yahweh said, light exists. Yahweh revealed himself, which is the light. You see, the English translate as let that let there be light. No, it's Yahuwah is the light. He just reveal it, right? There has always been light, right? Excuse me. So there has always been light. Get what I'm saying? Light did not has origin. Like it's the same way Yahuwah doesn't have origin. It doesn't have beginning. So light has always been in existence because Yahuwah is the light. Get what I'm saying? So Yahuwah just revealed his light, and darkness could not comprehend it. The light of Yahuwah overwhelmed darkness, and he called the light day. 12 hours day cycle, right? which has nothing to do with the moon and the sun and everything. You know what I'm saying? And darkness he called night, according to the scriptures, right? And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, if you pay attention, it's day is used in two categories here. We have day, like daylight, which is 12 hours day. This is scripture, like I'm following Hebraic and creation calendar, right? So 12 hours day and 24 hours day cycle. So the first time the day was mentioned the 12 hours day. Then the second time it said, and evening and the morning were the first day. Ehad. Ehad in Hebrew means one. One in Hebrew means sometimes it means more than one. Most of the times, as a matter of fact, how that word occurred in the scriptures, right? Even in, okay, let me use English. In English, there's like if we are 3 or 4 in one place, they can say one group of people. What that means is that we 3 or 4 of us come together to achieve a particular thing, right? To achieve one thing, right? So that way we become one. That is the Hebrew word that is used in that place means ehad, means one in unity. When two things join together to accomplish one purpose. So the proper 24 hours time was set by Yahuah. It is Yahuah that begins it. So that means you have 12 hours day, working day, according to the Hebrew. Hebrew communicate through pictures, and you have 12 hours night, which was time for rest. So what that means is that when I said Hebrew communicate through pictures, what I mean is that if I join the Hebrew pictures that letters rather, which is pictures that form the word day, it will actually illustrate, give me illustration of reality of what day is. Day is for work, right? You know what I'm saying? You work, you give me the pictures would tell you you give you definition of the word. You know what I'm saying? So now you follow the pattern, and the evening and the morning with the second day, and the evening and the morning with the third day. See the system, right? And the evening and the morning were the fourth day, and the evening and the morning were the fifth day, till we get to sixth day. And he said, Yahuah blessed the sixth day. And we get to the 6 days. And he said, and Yahuah finished everything on the 6th day, and he rested on the 7th day. And he blessed the 7th day, which is, and said, and called it, which is the Shabbat. So now we know that Shabbat was established by Yahuah. It was Yahuah that set Shabbat, when we should worship, and when we should work, and when we should rest. So it is Yahuah that set that system, right? So we have 12 hours day and 12 hours night. So that, if you check that alone has already contradicts your standard time that you know that day begins in the midnight. You see, that is not how it is. Based on scriptures, day begins in the evening. Immediately sundown, day begins. That's a proper scriptural and Hebraic way of day. So we have 12 hours day and 12 hours night. Now, that is a system. You can notice now that the weekly counting and weekly system has been set by Yahuah himself. So now, if we move to Genesis 14, he said, let me read Genesis 14. He said, beg your pardon. Let me use my Bible. Genesis 1:14. I'm using King James, or yeah, I'm using King James, New King James. Genesis 1:14, New King James. Then Elohim said, "Let there be light in the firmament of the Shammah of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years." So now we see in this passage now that Yahuwah created a system, right? He said, "Let there be light in the Shamahim in heavens," right? So let there be for day and for night, for signs, for seasons, and for days and for years. What I'm saying. So that means this system that Yahuwah created worked together with his creation. So you get what I'm saying? So Yahuwah created things that we used to know the times. So the word for day, like we know, the next verse says, "And let them be for light, and let them be for light in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth." And it was so. Then Yahuwah made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So now, where we are focusing is Genesis 1:14. He said the light was for time. For the light he created were for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. Now, if you notice that Yahuwah did not mention week, you see, he did not see that he's going to use the light to count week, right? Why? Because he already created weekly cycle right from Genesis 1. You know what I'm saying? And he created the light and the moon and the sun and the stars on the fourth day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So now we not need the light, this light, the sun, the moon, and the stars and everything to know the Shabbat, the weekly days, right? The weekly days is established without is counting without the moon, the sun, and the stars, according to the scriptures. So we do not once it's evening and it's morning, we know that is a day. We not need moon, sun, and the stars to count weekly days, to count weekdays, right? So the standard. So that means if we can notice here, that means we have two calendars. We have weekly Shabbat calendars, and we have civil calendar. You can do your research. We have weekly calendar of creation, which follow, and civil calendar. So it's the civil calendar that we use moon, the sun, and the stars. You know what I'm saying? To know the times. So now the word we have to pay attention here is the word signs, seasons. So this word for signs means it's not just sign, like signs. You know what I'm saying? It also means signs that Yahuwah will fulfill his promise or his prophecy. You know what I'm saying? It's not just as a sign to know the time of the year or season of the year, or you know what I'm saying? So that word is way beyond that. Now, and for years, so we use the moon and the sun to know years, right? So now we can see that Yahuwah created a system which is called divine system, because Yahuwah is divine. This is set apart system. This is Yahuwah created the system by himself. So the creation of day and year started from Genesis 1 to 5, Genesis 1 to 15. Yeah, Genesis 1 to 15. So light separate day from night. Yahuah established 24 hours day cycle. You can see that. I say that. What I'm saying, from Genesis 1 to Genesis 5. Sorry, from Genesis 1, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 to 5. Yahuah create light, separate day from night, establish a 24 hours day cycle. Yahuah said the sun, the moon, and the stars to rule over. Then Genesis 1:14, Yahuah said the sun, the moon, and the stars to mark seasons, days, and years. So now we know that seasons mean, like, we have winter. There are 4 seasons. You know what I'm saying? Though it depends the country where you are. You know what I'm saying? We have winter. We all know the seasons, right? So now, when that word season is not just for, like, for weather, for time of the year, also for feast. Like, this is the period of season of unleavened bread season, right? We are in the season of unleavened bread. So this is one of the seasons, right? Now, if you notice that in Genesis 1:14, Yahuah did not tell us how this light functions. So now let's go to a book called Sirach, one of the scriptures, one of the taken away books. Sirach, you can find it in the Apocrypha. Yeah, Sirach 24, Sirach 43, verse 6 to 8. Because Yahuah created a system, Sirach would make it to understand how that system functions more, for more clarity. If you have Sirach, if you have Sirach, you can read it. In some Apocrypha, they name it Ecclesiasticus in some Apocrypha. Get what I'm saying? But the real name is Sirach. Sirach. Sorry, guys. Sirach. Okay. Let me read from verse 5. Sirach follow the order. Like, if you notice everything about scriptures, like, everything is orderly, right? Everything follow order. If you notice right from Genesis 1, it said, and the evening and the morning, right? Why? Because if you notice, darkness mentioned first before light. So that's why you have darkness. You have night before daylight to complete, before you can have 24 hours day cycle. So Hebrew follow orders. Everything in the scriptures is orderly. Even the books themselves, you see Genesis, you understand, everything follow orders. Now, if you notice in Genesis 1:14, he said, let there be light, greater light first, lesser light second, and the stars. He followed the order. You know what I'm saying? So that same way, you see that pattern again, over and over again. Wherever any writer of the scriptures or anybody in scriptures is, even Yahuah himself is trying to use those heavenly this thing that he created, he will follow the order. So now this Sirach, he followed that order by talking about Yahuah's creation. So he will let us know how that works, how those things that Yahuah has created, the heavenly bodies, how it works. Okay, I said you're supposed to read Sirach 43, 6 to 8, but let's start from verse 1. Let's start from verse 1. The pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven with its glorious shoe. The sun, I'm reading from King James, like KJV. The sun, when it appeared, declaring at its rising, a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon, it pierced the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? A man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapor and sending forth brightness beams. It dimmeth the eyes. Great is Yahuah that made it, and at his commandments runneth hastily. That is, it tells us about the light that the Most High Yahuah created in Genesis 1, 14, right? So this writer here is telling us about how marvelous those lights is. It's telling us about Yahuah's light. Now, verse 6, this is where we are going. He made the moon also to serve in her season for declaring for. Let me read that again. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the signs of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. The month is called after her. So that means, okay, let me finish the reading. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heavens. Now, in Genesis 1, the Most High, in the Genesis 1, we learned that Yahuwah established a system, right? And he created the moon, the sun, and the stars. He created light. He created light to tell us the times of the years and seasons, right? But he did not tell us which light, the names of those lights, and you know what I'm saying? It wasn't Genesis 1:14 was not specific, right? But Sirach actually explained those lights to us. You know what I'm saying? And tell us how those lights function. It tell us how the system functions, right? So in Sirach, we learned that the sun and the moon serves as sign for Yahuwah's appointed times and feast. So now, and Sirach give us proper explanation that he tell us which light that declared the time for feast. He said, from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in our perfection. So we know that we use the moon to count the feast days. He said in Sirach 43, verse 8, that the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. So it means that the word moon is month, right? So that's why our the English, if you do your research or word study, see that the word month comes from the word moon. If the English word month comes from the word moon. So that is what Sirach is telling us. So that's why our when we are about to enter into new month, we call it new moon. So we use moon to know the time of the month. You know what I'm saying? So this is the system that Yahuwah created, and we use moon to know Yahuwah appointed time. That is why if you see in Matthew when Yahushua was talking about the end, said that when that time comes, the moon and the sun will not give their light anymore, because that will be the sign. Remember, Genesis 1:14 tell us that the moon and the sun were created for signs. And I mentioned that it wasn't just for season for feast. It also about Yahuah. The moon and the sun is also used for Yahuah prophecies. Like for he also used when Yahuah also used the moon and the sun to show sign of fulfilling his prophecies, right? You know what I'm saying? So example is eclipse, right? You know what eclipse means? Eclipse of the moon means judgment for Yashael, for our nation, right? And eclipse of the sun means judgment for nation, right? Can do your history and study. You know what I'm saying? So those are also signs. You use those moon and the sun. You use those heavenly bodies, the things that he created, to do whatever thing he wants to do. He established a system and a principles, and he followed that principles, and he operated according to that principle and according to the system that he established. He used the things that he created, the things that he's in control of, to determine how everything happened, to determine its order. You know what I'm saying? So now we learn that the month is called after a name. So it is the moon that we use to know the sign of feast, the time of feast, right? And it is the moon that we also use to know the signs of world. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, moon is used when Yahuah wants to judge the nation of Yashael, our people, right? Now, so now we can see that Yahuah has created a system, and the system is created. He's the one that appointed the time. He controls the time. So that means it is Yahuah that controls worship, right? So now I mentioned that in Genesis, Yahuah said Shabbat days, right? He said 7 days Shabbat. That's why in Exodus 20, when he was talking to our ancestors, to us, said, remember the Shabbat day and keep it set apart, keep it holy, because in 6 days I created the heavens and the earth, and in 7 days I rested. Now, if you see that he followed, it takes us back to the timeline that he set. It takes us back to the system that he set. You know what I'm saying? He tells us to follow that system. You know what I'm saying? So we are to keep Shabbat according to that system. So that shows that Yahuah created a system and established the system and operate according to the principles of that system. And if you notice, 7 day is Yahuah's possession. Yahuah owns the 7 day, right? Is that the days of Yahuah? So whenever you hear in the scriptures, sometimes the prophet, even in Revelation, they said the translators use the day of the Lord, but the day of Yahuah, Shabbat day, the 7th day, is the day of Yahuah. So Yah's possession, human cannot tamper with it. So the 7th day is Yah's possession, is Yahuah's possession. No human being can tamper with it. So this is very, very important. There's a reason why I have to go that, you get what I'm saying, because there have been so much deception that the day have been changed, the Shabbat day have been changed, except the moon and the sun has been changed from the order that they were created. That is when the 7-day Shabbat can be changed. That is when the feast days can be changed. As long as the moon, the sun, and the stars are still in Shamayim, and they are still giving us light according to how Yahuah created them and ordained them and give them order. They are still functioning in that order. That means no human being can ever change the weekly Shabbat day. So if you believe that 7th day, as we know, the Shabbat day, which the pagans, in Gregorian pagan calendar is called Saturday, which is named after Roman god Saturn. If you think that the 7th day is not the Shabbat, that means you have been deceived. You get what I'm saying? Now remember, that is the only day that Yahuah blessed. So that means the Shabbat, that's why Yahushua said Shabbat was for man. Yahuah, the Most High created Shabbat for man, not man for Shabbat, right? Created for Shabbat, and he blessed that day and set it aside, sanctify it. You know what I'm saying? Yahuah is blessed, right? So, and he blessed the Shabbat. So that means us that keep the Shabbat, it's only those that keep the Shabbat that would inherit that blessing, right? So that means Ashatan would do anything, and he will create all kinds of theory and all kinds of lies, all kinds of conspiracy to deny us that blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows that once we do not follow the order that Yahuah has set for us to follow, you know what I'm saying? Once we do not keep that day perfectly the way he commanded us to keep, that way we'll not be able to get that blessing. You know what I'm saying? We will not be able to inherit his blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a place in, I believe in the book of Hebrew, when Paul said that Yahuah swear that they will never enter into his rest. Why? Because our ancestors neglect Yahuah's Shabbat day. You know what I'm saying? So that means they will not enter into the rest of Yahuah, which actually in the millennial kingdom, which will be a like total rest for us. You know what I'm saying? So that means they will not make it into that rest. Why? Because they refuse to enter into Yahuah's rest, which is the 7th day Shabbat. So now, like I said, the 7th day is Yahuah's possession. Human cannot tamper with it. Human cannot tamper with it. Now, Yahuah established rest and worship according to his timing. I said that, right? I said that Yahuah established Shabbat and worship, right? Shabbat is time for worship according to his timing. He said the timing and he established everything according to that timing. You know what I'm saying? And nothing has changed right from the day of creation. The only thing that have changed is human. You know what I'm saying? Yahuah have set the orders, has set everything in place. Nothing has changed. It's us that change and deviate from those orders that he has set for us. You know what I'm saying? So do not allow anybody to deceive you, my brothers and sisters. If you have been following the lunar calendar, lunar Shabbat, no. Please, my brothers and sisters, I'm begging you, please return back to the order. Pray and ask Yahuah for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? And ask him to open your eyes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? To start keeping his Shabbat orderly according to how he ordained it, right? So now we understand that it is Yahuah that established worship and feast and everything according to his timing. Now, let's move further to the feast system, right? The system of feast and signs, Yahuah uses celestial bodies to regulate prophetic and worship times. You know what I'm saying? He used the celestial body, like the heavenly bodies, the things that he created, just like I said before, the moon and the sun and the stars, to establish his feast, right? So we use the moon to know the time for the feast. Feast like Passover, right? So now, what I'm going to do is that we are going to use maybe 1 or 2 feasts to check how, if everything align with the system that Yahuah created, that Yahuah established in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, and how Sirach explained it, right? He said the moon and the sun is used to know the feast, right? So now let's go to Exodus 12. I would like to read from Exodus 12, 1 to 14, but I will jump some verses, right? Just because of time. And Exodus 12. Shamud. I will do my best to read from Hallelujah, not Hallelujah, from Yahuah scriptures. Exodus 12. I'm reading from verse 1. And Yahuah spoke to to Moses, and to Aaron in the land of Mizraim, the land of Egypt, saying, this month is the beginning of the month for you. It is the first month of the year for you. We are in that period, right? We are still in the first month of the year, right? This is the period. This is how Yahuah has ordained. Now, spoke to all the congregation of Yashael, saying, on the 10th day of this month, of the first month, one of them, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And let me jump to verse 5. Let the lamb be perfect one. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats. And you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month of the first month. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Yashael shall kill it between the evenings. This is where I'm going, right? Now, in verse 1, it said, this month shall be the new month for you, shall be the beginning of the month for you. Now, that word, if you check Hebrew, if you use concordance or use any Hebrew dictionary, it will say, this should be the new moon for you. So in Hebrew, the beginning of the month is called new moon. So because like we name, Hebrew name things after function. So the moon in Hebrew is named after its function, right? Moon is used for month, right? You know what I'm saying? So the new month, right? So you can see that he said it should kill the lamb in the what? In the evening, between the evening. That is around 3 p.m. From a time like this till 6 p.m. Between the evening. First evening is when the day start to decline, which is from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Get what I'm saying? 6 p.m. is when sun sets around that time, right? So immediately sun sets around 6 p.m., the new day begins. So from that period is called between the evening. So the lamb, the Passover lamb, like that is talking about here, is supposed to kill around 3 p.m. on the 14th day, 3 p.m. Get what I'm saying? So, and the time for sacrifice, for temple sacrifice used to be 9 p.m. and 3 p.m. So 3 p.m. is considered to be between the evening where sacrifices and everything take time. Get what I'm saying? So that's why if you hear some places in the scriptures, they said when it was evening, they begin to bring some sick people, right? So the evening, you know what I'm saying? So that is how you can time. You can see that Yahuah commanded them to kill it in the evening. Now let's read further. Let's read verse 14. Okay, no, let's not go. Let's continue from verse 6. And you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then shall the assembly of the congregation of Yashael shall kill it between the evenings. Between. Pay attention. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the house where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire with unleavened bread and with bitter herbs. Then shall and bitter herbs, they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boil it at all with water, but roast it in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. And do not leave it until morning. And what remains of it until morning, you are to burn with fire. So they were supposed to burn it before 3 a.m. in the morning, like before the third watch. Where what we know as 3 a.m. in the morning now is in Hebrew is third watch. We have 12 hours day and 12 hours night. First watch is from 6 to 9. Second watch is from 9 to 12. Third watch is from 12 to 3. So they should burn it before the third watch. So that means the meat must not pass 12 hours. So, okay, we know the story. Yahuah passed through, and you know what I'm saying? And the blood shall be a sign for you on the house where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I smite the land of Mizraim. You know what I'm saying? The next verse is very important. And this day shall become to you a remembrance. The word there is sakar. The Hebrew word there is sakar. Sakar is not, the Hebrew word sakar doesn't just mean to remember. No, it means to remember and to always be conscious of it, to remember and act upon it, and also make sure that you pass the information to the next person or to the next generation, and make sure that nobody forget this information. So the word sakar is more than just remember. It actually means you have to pass the information from one generation to the other. It is responsibility of the parents, the elders, the leaders of the family to make sure that they pass this information from one generation to next generation. That is the commandment. That is what the commandment is. Whenever you see in Hebrew, you follow the context. Sometimes it's not just talking about to remember. It actually means to make sure that you pass the information from one generation to the other. And you shall observe and you shall observe it as a festival to Yahuah throughout your generations. Observe it as a festival, an everlasting law. Did you hear that? It is an everlasting law. It is an everlasting forever. The Passover, the Pesach is to be observed for everlasting to everlasting. So that is what Yahuah said. Yahuah said we should observe the Passover from everlasting to everlasting. So we are not to abandon Yahuah's Passover. So now let's verse 15. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the fourth day on the fourth day you shall cause leaven to cease from your house. For whosoever eats leavened bread from the fourth day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Yasha'el. That was a commandment. You have to remove all the leaven from your house. So now, if we go to verse 17, and you shall guard the law, these commandments, for on this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mizraim, the land of Egypt, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. Again, verse 19, for 7 days no leaven is to be found in your house. For if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Yasha'el, whether a foreigner or a native of the land. Do not eat that which is leavened in all your dwellings. You are to eat unleavened bread. That is the commandment, direct commandment. And you shall kill the animal according to your order. So now the point I'm trying to make is you can see that Yahuah set up a system here. He set up the feast system, like when the feast that we should celebrate. He set up the time. He set the time. He used celestial body, the moon, the sun, and the stars to establish that time. And you see that the first feast of the year, according to the Hebrew year, this is the first month, the first feast. He followed that time, the system that he set. You know what I'm saying? So now we can still go ahead to see how true that is, right? Let's go to another verse in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? You know this. Now, yeah, the day of atonement, Leviticus 16, 29 to 34. Celestial Yahuah used the sun, the moon, and the stars. You know what I'm saying? To set these days. He said no human can change it, right? So now, death and resurrection of Hamashiach. You know, now we see if you read Leviticus 23, we see that Yahuah still follow the time that is set when he tell our ancestors, which is also a season of feast, another feast, Yom Kippur, feast of atonement, the day of atonement, one of the most important day in the nation, or if not the most important day that all of us, all the nation, all the children of Yashar, the set apart ones, must come to atone for our sin. The most important day. So we can see that he commanded us to begin the day from evening of the 9th day to evening of the 10th day. Evening to evening. You get what I'm saying? He followed the pattern that he set in Genesis 1. You get what I'm saying? To 14. He still follow that same pattern. You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, Yahuah has established his system. You get what I'm saying? He established weekly day system and weekly day worship, like weekly day of worship system. You know what I'm saying? And feast time, the time of the feast. You know what I'm saying? So now you can see that in Exodus 12, it tells that the lamb should be slain in the evening. He killed the lamb in the evening. You know what I'm saying? So that means that verified or that confirmed that the actual day begins in the evening. So because of time, I'm going to end it here and I will continue in the next video. So now we see in two scriptures that Yahuah follows the time that he set. Yahuah created a system. You know what I'm saying? In Genesis 1:1, in the book of Genesis. And Sirach, the book of Sirach, explained that system for us. Sirach 43, 6 to 8. You know what I'm saying? So we will end it here and we will continue in our next video. In the next video, we're going to go into what they call New Testament. In Hebrew is Bret Adash, which means renewed covenant. You know what I'm saying? So some people say that the Old Testament is done away with. You know what I'm saying? So now, in our next video, we are going to go into the Bret Adash, the New Testament, to see that if Yahuah is still the person in control and if he still follow this order by using death and resurrection of Hamashiach to see if Yahuah follow the system. So, like I said earlier, my brothers and sisters, please, we are one. 12 brothers, but one father. One earthly father, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and one heavenly father, which is Yahuah. Please, wherever you are, please, if you watch this video, even if you are just passing by, please make sure to like and share. Please share. Let's spread this truth together. Let this truth go out into the four corners of the earth just by pressing the liking video, by liking it and sharing it. We have done your own part by spreading the truth. All right, my brothers and sisters, See you in next video. Until then, it's hallelujah. Shalom. Shalom, my brothers and sisters.